I think the best approach is when a PR person is really knowledgeable. They know what you cover, they know their subject, their clients. That's probably the best way to approach reporters.
And I think the best way is email. I mean, I get cold called a lot, but it usually comes in a time when we're breaking news or on deadline, and then you don't want to be rude on the phone, but you really have to cut them off. So email is basically the best way.
If you're really good at your job, then you don't have to worry about calling me, because I'm going to call you to try and be like, what are you hearing on this? Who can you put me in touch with on this? What sort of access or executives do you represent that I might be able to talk to on this? And we can quickly distill from the people that are just looking for a hit or a placement. That's always the wrong tactic to take, because that basically inherently implies that it's not going to be a relationship. You're just looking for a one-off story placement, and then I may never hear from you again. Calling you up. What are you working on nowadays? That's interesting. What stories are exciting to you? And let me scour my Rolodex to see who I could give you access to help. Those are the best and most valuable types of PR people.
They should be able to set up interviews that are off the record, so their clients feel comfortable with and trust the reporter, and not always asking for a story to be done. So I'm always open to talking to people off the record, and that when you start collecting things that a lot of people are saying, then that's how a story kind of formulates.
What I always find is, rather than just calling up blindly, is kind of just hit us with an email and be like, I'm wondering, I got a potential story for you. Do you got like 5 minutes to chat at some point tomorrow or some point later in the week? It won't take more than 10 minutes of your time. Like just calling up and like launching into a pitch. I don't find as effective. So if you have the relationship with the M&A reporter, go there. If you have the relationship with me, come to me, and I'll loop in the M&A reporter. And ideally, if you went to them, they'd loop us in.
Don't pitch different people. If it's a specific company that is being covered by a certain reporter, just go to that reporter.
Good content finds its way of surfacing itself to reporters. So if you're good at it and you have good stuff, and good clients will find it, rather than it trying to find us.
I think you want to be relevant. For example, if I'm writing about US media companies, and then a company's based somewhere else in the world that really has nothing at all to do with what I cover, then yeah, I'm going to be hesitant to set up the meeting, because the meeting isn't going to help me. So I think you really have to look at what a reporter covers and try to explain to them what the connection is.
If you're a journalist and you're not on Twitter, you're probably falling behind or standing still. I think the same probably goes for PR people nowadays. You have to be there. You have to live on these social platforms, because that's where the news is happening and taking place. Obviously we're beholden to our clients that pay us for the terminal, so we have to break news there first. But we try and monitor and get out as quickly as possible on social media as well, so that it gets traded and shared around. Wire service, historically, reporters have been faceless or nameless. Some stories don't even have bylines, for instance. So I think it's great for these guys to get on Twitter and get out there and promote their work, and be able for the people in the audience here to see Liana at a cocktail party or see Nicola at a cocktail party and be like, I recognize you from your Twitter feed. I follow you on Twitter. And that helps with relationship building as well.
I find it's also another way to get out stories that maybe didn't make it onto the wire. I know I tweet a lot when I'm at an event and there's something interesting going on, or a lot of investor conference calls. I just quote what I'm hearing, and it's just a faster way to get out news and publish information that may not get into the story until it's comes out on the wire a little bit later.
Do you find that your stories get fueled by things that you see on Twitter as well? Do you get story ideas that way?
I definitely keep up with the competition, following all the media reporters out there and trying to join the conversation, and I'll even tweet out competitor stuff. But in terms of getting leads there, I feel like that's more sources could direct message you or point you to something that way, but you don't want to give everything away on Twitter.
There's, obviously anything that's new in technology that changes things. One of the big buzzwords is software-defined networking, which basically uses software to control the network and applications and so on. So there's going to be a lot of consolidation and a lot of positioning themselves in there. And network security, cybersecurity obviously is a big topic. Big data, data analytics, as I'm sure you all know, is a huge issue, and it's so huge that you really have to weed through it to find the good stuff, and not just everyone trying to jump on that.
the shift to tablets is interesting. Who's going to win that? What's Apple going to do with their cash pile? You know, is Marissa Mayer going to be a success at Yahoo? And how is she going to bring that company back? What's going to happen to the cable bundle, right? We're starting to see some penetration there, some cracks in the fortress between cable programmers and cable distributors. So what happens there? What's going to happen to publishing assets like Time Inc. and News Corp's publishing division when they're on their own and they're trying to stand on their own 2 feet? We're always interested in the intersection of technology, media, traditional media entertainment, and Wall Street, and how do those three forces combine? We are trying to do a little bit more with private companies, particularly bigger private companies, and you know, one fertile area that I don't know what kind of clients you represent, but if it's a startup and that has venture capital funding, and it, you know, we might be open to meeting that person because we're looking to do more in the VC world, and if it's a particularly hot startup, it's probably getting looked at by the Facebooks and Googles and Yahoos and Amazons of the world for an acquisition, and that could be, you know, that introductory meeting could end up being a valuable backdoor way into some of these other companies in terms of that reporting.